Close your eyes for me a moment and picture a girl. She's growing up in New York City, 15 years old. She fights with her little brother like cats and dogs, always has. She has to come first in class and cries when somebody beats her. She loves her pop songs and her vampire movies, spends a good hour at the mirror fussing with her hair, and at night prays to grow an inch or two taller. She dreams of working at a fancy magazine downtown. You know this girlfriend. She lives on your street. She might be your daughter, your sister, you. Now, keep that very same girl in your mind. Same temper, same dreams, same heart. But move her. Set her down not in New York, but in a little town called Mingora, in a valley in Pakistan. So beautiful, the sign at its edge reads, "Welcome to Paradise." Same girl, just a different patch of ground. And here's the thing that ought to stop you cold. The only difference between that ordinary girl and the most famous schoolgirl on earth was the place she happened to be born. Because in her valley, her one plain ordinary wish to go to school became a thing that men with guns were willing to kill her for. Her name is Malala, and her story, told in a book called I Am Malala, is not really the story of a saint. It's the story of an ordinary girl who simply refused to give up. Tonight, you'll watch a child learn the worth of a thing only after it's stolen from her. You'll see a frightened little girl pick up the only weapon she had, a pen. You'll learn that courage was never once about not being afraid. And you'll meet a girl who, on the very worst day of her life, chose purpose over revenge. Let's begin.
Malala was born in the summer of 1997 in her father's school. Her daddy, Ziauddin, was a teacher and a poet who'd built that little school from nothing, and he raised his girl among the desks and chalk dust. And oh, she was ordinary in all the best ways. She and her brother Kushal, as she puts it in her book, never in all of history have Kushal and Malala been friends. She and her best friend Moniba traded every secret and fell out over nothing at all. She fought a rival named Malka Inor for first place like it was a war. That was her whole world, school. And like most of us, with most of our blessings, she never once thought twice about it. It was just Tuesday. And here comes the first hard lesson, the one she would only understand too late. You do not know the worth of a thing until somebody tries to take it from you. Because a man came to her valley, a militant the people called the Radio Mullah. Every night, his voice came crackling out of a homemade radio station, soft and reasonable at first, then full of fire. He told the people to burn their televisions, and they did, in great black heaps in the streets. Then he turned to the girls. School, he said, was not for them. One by one, on the radio, he would read out the names of the girls who had quit and praise them for it. Then came the day they took it all. The mullah's men set a deadline. After the 15th of January, no girl in that valley would set foot in a classroom. They had already blown up hundreds of schoolhouses in the dark while the children slept. On the very last day, the school bell rang, and Malala looked up at the honor board with her name on it and wondered if she'd ever see it again. She went home, and she cried and she cried. This bored, ordinary schoolgirl had finally understood what school truly was. When someone takes away your pens, she wrote, you realize quite how important education is. It was never just a way to pass the hours. It was her whole future. Now, most folks, when men with guns say be quiet, they get quiet. And who could blame them?
But here's where our ordinary girl does an extraordinary thing. A man from the BBC came looking for somebody, a teacher, a schoolgirl, anybody, to keep a secret diary of life under the Taliban. The grown-ups were far too afraid. So a little girl raised her hand. "Why not me?" she said. She was 11 years old. She couldn't use her own name, so they gave her one, Gul Makai, which means cornflower. And week after week, this child told the plain truth of what was happening to her valley, and the whole wide world began to read it.
Now here's what that little diary really was, friend. The Taliban told everybody a story. They said they were holy men, righteous, that everything they did was God's own will. And as long as folks believed that story, they obeyed. But this child's words told a different story, the true one. She wrote down what was really happening, the schools burning, the fear, the cruelty hiding behind all that talk of God. She held up a light and said, plain as day, these men are not who they claim to be. And that is the thing those gunmen feared more than any soldier. Because a lie only has power as long as nobody says the truth out loud. The moment one honest voice speaks up, the spell starts to break. When Malala asked her father why the Taliban didn't want girls going to school, he gave her an answer, "I want you to carry home tonight." "They are scared," he said, "of the pen." That is the second lesson. You do not have to be powerful to matter. You do not have to be anybody special at all. One ordinary voice, even a child's, even a whisper, telling the simple truth can be the most dangerous thing in the room. Guns can make people afraid. But the truth? Her father believed it to his bones. The truth abolishes fear. But don't you go thinking that girl wasn't scared. That's the part folks always get wrong. Every single night, Malala bolted the gate. She'd lie awake, imagining a man stepping from the shadows on the steps below. She flinched at footsteps in the dark. She was afraid, and she went to school anyway. Her father said it best on those black nights. At night, our fear is strong, Janny, but in the morning, in the light, we find our courage again. And Malala wrote down the words that became the very heart of who she was. Our fear was never as strong as our courage. That is the third lesson, and I would tattoo it on every heart if I could. Courage is not the absence of fear. The brave are the ones who are shaking in their shoes and walk out that door anyway. All around her, good people were staying silent to stay safe. They saw the killing and the burning, and they said nothing, praying the storm would pass them by. But Malala saw the cost of that silence. If people were silent, she said, nothing would change. So this father and daughter would not be silent. They spoke out, on the radio, on television, to anyone who'd listen. And that is the fourth lesson, friend. Silence does not protect you. Silence protects the thing that's hurting you. Sometimes, the bravest thing an ordinary soul can do is simply refuse to hold their tongue. And so, at last, they came for her. It was an ordinary Tuesday in the middle of exams. Malala was on the school bus heading home, laughing with the other girls, when the bus slowed and a young man stepped into the road. He climbed onto the back and asked just one question. "Who is Malala?" And then, I'll say it gently, for it is a hard, hard thing. They tried to silence her forever with a bullet, right there on that little bus.
That bus driver raced her to the nearest hospital, her friends holding on to her the whole way. The doctors fought through the night just to keep her breathing. She was hurt so badly that there was only one thing left to do: carry her thousands of miles from her valley while she hung between this world and the next, all the way to a hospital in England. And here is the wonder of it, friend. As that little girl lay fighting for her life, the whole world began to pray for her. Strangers, children, even presidents. Letters arrived by the sackful. One was addressed only to the girl shot in the head.
and somehow it still found her. The Taliban had set out to silence one voice. Instead, they handed her millions. And against every earthly odd, she lived. She woke in that English hospital, half her face not working, her long hair gone. And you know the first thing in her heart? It was not revenge. Listen to her own words. I didn't even think a single bad thought about the man who shot me. I had no thoughts of revenge. Her only regret, she said, was that she never got to tell him why every girl deserves to go to school. She decided this would be a second life, and a second life had to be for something. I was spared, she said, for a reason, to use my life for helping people. That is the last lesson, and it turns the whole story to gold. The worst thing that ever happens to you doesn't have to leave you smaller or bitter or hard. It can become the very reason you matter, if you will only let it become your purpose instead of your poison. On her 16th birthday, that same ordinary girl stood up before the whole United Nations and said, "Let us pick up our books and our pens. They are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world." She would go on to become the youngest person ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So, if you're sitting there tonight feeling ordinary, too plain, too much like everyone else to ever change a thing, I want you to remember a girl in a valley they called Paradise. A girl every bit as ordinary as you, who fought with her brother and fussed with her hair and was afraid of the dark, and who changed the whole world with a pen. If this story moved you any, the book is I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. Go on and read it your own self. Come on back to this fire now and again. There's always another story waiting. Till next time, you take good care now, you hear?